We're Paul and Denise Andrews. In the early morning hours of January 3rd, 2010, we lost my son David to suicide. David didn't have an easy start in life. In the early months of 1983, David's mother and I had some difficult times economically, financially, and we were preparing to move. David was 3.5 years old. About a week before we intended to move, David's mother decided that being a wife and mother was not what she wanted to do anymore, and she abandoned 3 kids and myself. The day that she left, she brought David out in her arms, walked over to me, placed him in my arms, turned her back, and while he was screaming and clawing at the air for his mother, she walked over to the car, got in, and drove off. And that traumatic event set things in motion for David. Later in middle school, he was starting to develop, signs of depression, down. He was really having a difficult time, and we took him into counseling. And he was prescribed some antidepressants, and he started to come out of it. He started to be getting along fine. After high school, he decided to go to college, and David joined the Army. And again, all went well, but about midway through his enlistment, he went AWOL. He just disappeared. And we called Joe, Denise's son, and we said, we know about where he's at. Can you go over there and look? And Joe and a friend went over there, and they did find David. He was sleeping in his truck. And when they picked him up, he had indicated that it was his intent to kill himself that night. On the day of January 2nd, David and his wife went out for dinner and drinks. During the course of the night, I don't know, a disagreement, something came up that ordinarily any one of us might think is nothing much to worry about. But for David, fueled by alcohol, things started to take on a life of its own, and the downward spiral started. Later that night, he came home very unhappy. He and his wife had some words. He went upstairs. I understand, I didn't see it, but I understand he did a Facebook text, you got to go with your gut. And then he ended his life. We're working together on the funeral arrangements. I set an appointment for the next morning. We met my daughter-in-law at the funeral home, and we finalized everything. Before I left the funeral home, I asked if I could spend a little time with my son. They led me to a room where David was. And I just sat there, wondering why. How did we get here? Earlier that summer, we attended a family reunion up in Michigan, and at the time I didn't realize that it was the last time I would spend with my son, but it was the best time that I'd ever had. I got up, ran my fingers through his hair, kissed him on the forehead, determined that I was going to make something good come out of this. This is our story, and it's one of many stories, far too many stories. But we believe suicide can be prevented. We believe that we can help write a new story, a story where there's hope rather than the hopelessness someone who's depressed feels, a story where there's light rather than the darkness of depression that they're surrounded by. And with your help, we can write that new story.
Paul and Denise Andrews have a powerful message, and one that shows the importance of hope to families and survivors of suicide. To help children and their families go from being hopeless to being hopeful is the reason we're all here tonight. Charlotte Behavioral's Children's Crisis Stabilization Unit provides that hope every single day. Providing these children therapy at this unstable time is critical. It is our goal to help them discover new coping skills and help their families better understand their child's needs and to help these children find hope. One death by suicide is one too many. Monies raised during this appeal go directly to providing the therapy services to children in the CSU. Help us save a life and join our club of everyday heroes. Hope does start here tonight, right now. Thank you.